Mad Squad, what's howling? It's Joe, aka Mad Joe FC. Oh my, oh my gosh. Justice League. My mind, I'm still trying to comprehend all of the amazingness I've just seen. So the reason there's going to be two separate videos, a non-spoiler video and a spoiler video, is because there's just so much, too much for me to talk about, and I don't want to accidentally spoil anything on my non-spoiler reviews since I usually do them in the same video. For the sake of not spoiling anything, I'm just going to do two separate videos. So this first part is going to be non-spoiler for those who haven't seen the movie. So first I'm going to go through each of the characters in the film and what I thought of them. So Batman, guys, come into this film knowing that Batman, he's not as dark and brooding as he was in Batman v Superman, because that Batman was a Batman. He's been Batman for 20 plus years. He's dealt with most of his rogue gallery already. You know, he's lost his parents, lost Robin. There's almost no reason for him to really have any hope or just be happy at all. But after Superman's sacrifice, that changed him, hit him emotionally, and now he has a new restored faith in humanity. So coming into Justice League, we see that, and especially because he's working with others also, because of Superman's sacrifice, messing with him emotionally, and then also he's working with others. He's working with Barry Allen, who has a comedic personality to him. He's working with Diana, who is that person who puts the hope into him, like Superman did, putting more hope into him. And then Aquaman, Arthur Curry, you know, the kind of smart aleck who kind of butts heads with him a little bit. So he's working with other people, and that changes how he operates as well. Like, he's not working alone. He's working with a full team of other people. He's interacting with other people. So some of the things he does and some of the things that he says is going to be a little different from the Batman that you usually know, because in the Dark Knight trilogy and Batman v Superman, in most of the Batman movies we've seen, he's worked alone. So you only know that Batman that has worked alone. You don't know the Batman who has worked with other people until now. And so that definitely affects the character and how he operates. But it was enjoyable. It was enjoyable. He threw his little dad jokes around. He had his moments. One particular joke I did think wasn't really necessary to be in there. It just felt like it was squeezed in there last minute, but it was still okay. I enjoyed him nonetheless, and Batman is a great character. I can't say which movie I enjoyed him more in. I'm not talking about action-wise. Action-wise, Justice League. Well, never mind, because the warehouse fight. I don't know. Point is, I like Batman. Ben Affleck is born to play Batman. He is Batman. Barry Allen, The Flash, he was out, The Flash stole the show, okay? Everything about him was amazing. None of his jokes fell flat. The whole theater laughed at every single one of Barry's jokes. Nothing ever felt forced with his character and his jokes and what he did. He had some amazing scenes. I can't get into them without spoiling them. That's all I'm going to say is he has some incredibly amazing scenes. The FX and special effects were top-notch, super amazing. We already know that he knows about the Speed Force in this movie. He's been in. So those certain shots where he was in the Speed Force, running the Speed Force in slow motion, it was just absolutely amazing. I loved him, and he was a great character. Aquaman. The actor's name is Jason Momoa, so I like calling him Aquamoa. Aquaman. Aquaman was absolutely amazing. He was everything I knew he would be from the trailers and stuff. Well, not, I mean, yes and no, because, so, a lot of things has happened in his life, and so, at the beginning of the film, he's a person who's like, I want to do everything on my own, I want to be left alone, don't mess with me, I just want to do my own thing, I want to help people on my own, just leave me be. And so, throughout the film, I'm not going to say what happens, but if you've seen the trailers and stuff, you know what happens, that you can put pieces together and figure out what happened that made him eventually come join the league. And so when he's with the league, then like his tone and attitude kind of shifts, just because again, he's with others and he has kind of this like hype kind of surfer bro attitude, I guess. He's just like a really chill person. Like, that's it. He's just a really chill person. I'm not even gonna lie, I do feel a good bit of Aquaman's like really good scenes that if you saw it for the first time in the theater, you'd have been like, oh my god! I feel a lot of that stuff was shown in the trailers, and I'm not saying what they are, but you guys know like the really good Aquaman scenes that we all saw in the trailers and stuff. If we had got to see those for the first time in the movie, I do feel it would have been like, it just would have been more epic and more amazing, which that actually also makes me feel that maybe he wasn't in the movie as much, just because a good bit of his scenes we saw in the trailers and stuff. So it then makes you think, wow, like if most of the stuff that we saw in the movie was already in the trailers, it makes you think like, I guess he actually wasn't in the movie as much, maybe, you know? Either way, I really enjoyed him. He was a really good character. Victor Stone, Cyborg. So we all know this movie had some cuts to it, so we didn't get as much as we would have gotten. Some stuff that was in the trailers as well didn't even make it in the film, dealing with Cyborg. But, and I don't consider what I'm about to say spoiling, because I'm not giving anything, well, I mean, I'm not giving anything drastic away. So, at the beginning of the movie, he's, like, sad and mopey. He doesn't like that he's now a cyborg. He doesn't like what his dad did to him. He wishes that his dad would have just let him die. And every night, or like every day, he's evolving, he's changing. And so, the next day, he can do something that he wasn't able to do the day before. He wakes up, he's like, wow, I can do this. I couldn't do this yesterday, but now I can. And then, like, during the course of the film, he's not going to be that way the whole film. Which I didn't expect either. He's not exactly like all happy-go-lucky, skippy like you guys know from the cartoons and stuff. He isn't like that throughout the film as it progresses, but he isn't as sad and mopey either. Like, when he finally comes with the league, he's like, okay, I have this body, I can do all this, I can help people. I'll be here, and let's just get this done. I'll help people, let's do this. He's like that, not sad and mopey, but not exactly like really jumpy happy either. He's just, I'm here, I have these abilities, I can help people, let's do this. And then, by the end of the film, he is like, he's happy, he's cheery, especially when he's talking and laughing with one character, which I can't say because it's like huge spoilers. But yeah, so by the end of the film, and one particular thing happens at like the end of the film that's going to make a lot of you who didn't like Cyborg, anything about him in the trailers and TV spots, you guys are going to love what happens at the end. I'm not going to say what happens. You guys can guess and theorize. I'm not going to say, but you guys are absolutely going to love it, and it's going to make you want to see more Cyborg now because of what has happened at the end of the film. You're going to want to see a lot more of Cyborg. At least me. Like, I'm ready to see more of him now that just what has happened to him. I'm ready to see more of Cyborg. He was an amazing character. I enjoyed all of his scenes. He had a lot of heart to him, a lot of good story development, and I'm ready to see more. So, Wonder Woman, Diana Prince, she was, well, they were all like, I loved all of the characters, but in my opinion, she, on top of the character I won't mention, she had the second best fight scenes out of all of the characters of the League, just because her and Aquaman are really the only ones who could really take on Steppenwolf. I mean, Flash, yes, he's fast and stuff, but he's still inexperienced. He's still learning about, like, exactly what his abilities can do. And he's never been in battle before, so even though he, like, has the abilities, he's not experienced enough to really go head-to-head with Steppenwolf yet, like Aquaman and Wonder Woman can. And Wonder Woman had, like, she was the one who was fighting Steppenwolf the most, just because, I mean, she's the only one who can really have a good match against him other than Aquaman. I enjoyed all of her fight scenes with Steppenwolf, and Diana Prince, like, she really is that beacon of hope when in Superman's absence. She's that beacon of hope. She's the one who talks to, like, all the members of the League and puts hope into them and tells them, tells them why each of them are special in their own way and that they can all do this if they work together. So, yeah, she, like, oh, I just can't get over how, like, I just freaking love this woman. All of her, Gal Gadot is Wonder Woman. She really is. She really is. She had some of the best. I can't get over how incredible her fight scenes were, and you just have to wait and see the movie yourself to know what I'm talking about. The Superman. Yes, in this non-spoiler part, I am going to talk about Superman because we all know he's in the movie. We all know that. That's not a spoiler. So I'm going to talk about him. I'm not going to spoil anything. Superman. My favorite fight scenes were Superman's. I'm not spoiling nothing. That's not spoiling anything. That's my opinion that's just my opinion. I thought Superman had the best fight scenes. We saw him do stuff that we haven't seen him do before in the DCEU. We saw him do stuff he hasn't done before, and I feel this really was the end of not necessarily a 3 Superman movie arc, but just like character arc for Superman. Man of Steel, he's just become Superman, and the world now knows that he's there. The world isn't exactly liking him as much just because he's an alien from another world. Can we trust him? He has all this power, and so because of that, because people hate him in Batman v Superman, that's why he's mopey and stuff in Batman v Superman. Guys, tell me you're not going to be. Tell me that if everybody in the world hates you, and you're trying to do all the good you can, you're helping everybody, and everybody still hates you just because you're from another planet and because of all this power that you have, and they're all afraid of you and they hate you, you're going to be smiling and happy and cheery? No, you're not. You're not. So that's why he was mopey and stuff in Batman v Superman. Then, in the beginning of, well, I might just, let me calm myself. I almost spoiled something there. In the film Justice League, we see that the world now misses Superman because of his sacrifice and what he did, and they're now realizing all of this, and now they miss him. So then when Superman does return, he's happy and stuff again. He's cheery. He's not mopey at all. He's back. He's back with the people that he loves. People are happy that he's back, like the citizens. So he has no reason to not be happy. Everything was just amazing about Clark Kent and Superman. He didn't. I will say this, and this isn't spoiling anything. I didn't expect him to return the way he did. I'm not saying it was bad. I'm just saying I didn't expect. I guess I was expecting too much, maybe, and I'm going to explain more of this in my spoiler review. I'm going to explain more of this, but I guess I was just expecting. I guess I was maybe expecting too much, or just more than what we got. It was still good nonetheless, because a particular scene that happened after he returned, you guys are going to love it. It's absolutely amazing. But I guess I was just expecting a bit too much, or either I wasn't expecting him to return the way he did. Nonetheless, it was okay. You're going to enjoy it. You're going to love Superman in this film more than you have enjoyed him in Man of Steel and Batman v Superman. As far as Lois Lane and Martha Kent go, I don't want to say they were exactly cameos, because it isn't like they were just in like one scene and it was a one and done. They were peppered throughout the movie. Not exactly cameo, not exactly like how the rest of the league were in the movie that much. They were just kind of peppered throughout the film in the moments that they were needed in. And a particular, like in Batman v Superman, when Flash came back to warn Batman after Batman's dream, and he said Lewis is the key, that played a part in Justice League. I don't think that was setting up Injustice or anything, how some people are theorizing. I don't think that was. In one thing, personally, I wouldn't want that Injustice movie to happen. This could be kind of like a nitpicky, stupid reason why, but I don't want it to happen in the DCEU, because Injustice isn't DC Comics canon. Injustice is its own thing. It never took place in DC Comics. It's its own thing. It was a comic made as a prequel to the game. So because of that, and because the DCEU takes things that are DC Comics canon, that's what it's supposed to be, is a live-action world of DC Comics. I wouldn't want an Injustice movie to happen. Point is, when he said that in Batman v Superman, Lewis is the key, I feel that we saw that in Justice League. What he said, we saw that unfold in Justice League, and Lewis was a very essential part to the movie. Even though she was peppered out, she was a very essential part to the movie. Steppenwolf. As far as villains go, Steppenwolf is my favorite DCEU villain so far. Yes, I liked him better than General Zod. Yes, I did. I'm saying that I did. I don't know. I want to say he was like super generic. I mean, we got backstory on why he was doing what he was doing. We all know that from the trailers and stuff, that war that happened. We saw that, so that's not spoiling anything. We got his backstory, and he said one particular name. We already knew this character existed from Batman's dream sequence of Batman v Superman, but then Steppenwolf says the name. We only heard the name one time in the film, but we heard the name. We heard the name of this villain that we wanted, and we know now, like 100% confirmation, that he exists in the DCEU. But as far as Steppenwolf goes, I enjoyed seeing Steppenwolf on screen. Now, he was a completely CGI villain. He was a completely CGI villain, and I'm not, like, it wasn't terrible. It was, I liked it. Was it the best CGI ever? No, but I think it was good. Like, it was good. I liked it. I liked the CGI. I liked all of his scenes. He was intimidating. Like, just the things he did. The things he did. Like, when he was fighting the Amazonians, when he was fighting the League, he was intimidating. He was intimidating. I really liked him. He was my favorite villain so far. And if you're here if you're going to this film just to have a good time, you're going to like Steppenwolf. You really will. He was my favorite DCEU villain personally. now I'm going to talk about the actual film itself. And I don't mean, I've talked about the characters, I've talked about all of them. Now I'm going to talk about the actual film itself. So, is this a perfect movie? No. And because no movie is perfect. So it's not a perfect movie. Is it everything I wanted? Yes, it is. Everything I wanted to happen in this movie happened. This was my childhood. This was my nerdiest dreams come to life on the big screen. Everything I wanted, I was happy. Everything I wanted happened. But I do have to say some things that did happen. That I was like, really? And there's a reason this didn't get the 10 out of 10 from me. What did this film get from me out of 10? At 8.5. You guys are probably like, oh my, Joe, what the, Guys, I know, I was like, I can't believe this. At 8.5. It gets to 8.5 for 3 reasons. So, I usually take a whole point off, or a few points, or usually I just take either 0.5 points off of a movie, or 1 point. Those are the ways that I do points, that I take points off of movies for certain things. So, when you watch this movie, you are going to know it was cut. You are going to know, even if you didn't know anything about the cuts, like if you knew nothing about the cuts, and you were to go into this movie and watch it, and you see certain scenes happen, like this scene happened after this scene, you're going to feel like, wow, like should there have been more to this scene that we just didn't see? Or should there have been a scene that happened before this scene happened? Like, you're going to know it was cut when you're watching it. You're going to know it was cut. It was cut because I think they had to have a certain amount of runtime maybe, or they just didn't want it to be too long. I need Zack Snyder's full cut version. After you watch this movie for the first time, you're going to be asking for Zack Snyder's full uncut version of the film. It's not a want, it's a need. I need that. Because there is a lot, now I'm not giving anything away, but there's a lot in the trailers that did not happen in the movie. Like I'm talking like entire scenes that you looked at a shot in the trailer, you could tell like that would be a whole entire scene. There were whole entire scenes that were cut from there were characters that were cut from the movie. So because of especially like you can really tell it in the first if you were to put this movie into 3 parts, in the first part of the movie you can really tell where all the cuts were. You can really tell it. And like, was I sad about it? Like, well, was I mad about it? No. I enjoyed it still nonetheless. It's just I could tell there should have been more in these parts that there were, and I want those. I want those gaps to be filled. I need those gaps to be filled, which is why I need Zack's uncut version. I need his vision, his entire vision of this whole movie. The reshoots. Guys, they were obvious. They were obvious. Guys, you guys know I'm honest. I'm not a professional critic. I'm just a guy who gives my opinion on the film. And you guys know I'm not biased. You guys know I love Marvel and DC both the same. You know that. And even though as much as I love these films, I can't act like I don't see flaws that were in them. I can't act like I can't skip over them just because I'm happy about this film. I can't skip over the flaws that I saw. The reshoots were obvious. I'm not going to say which scenes there were because I don't want anything to be spoiled. I'm just going to let you watch it for yourself and you will see where the reshoots were. It was particularly with just one character where you could really tell where reshoots happened. They were obvious. And the thing is, I knew about them before I went into the movie, and I knew which parts of the reshoots were at. So when I saw it, I was like, ah! You could tell it so much. You could tell it so much. And I think it was just in maybe like 3 scenes in the movie. Like 3 different scenes throughout the movie. But you could tell. You could tell. It was okay though. It was okay. I was not upset. I was not mad. I was just like, why? Did they not get it right the first time? What was wrong with the first time? And I think the reshoots were actually to add things in the movie as well that weren't in the first. And some of the things that were in the reshoots, I was like, I didn't need that. Maybe like a joke or something that I didn't really need at that part. I was like, why? I don't know. I still enjoyed it. You guys know I enjoyed it nonetheless, but I do have to point out the flaws too, okay? The last thing is the CGI. And no, it's actually only for one part too. I'm not talking about this. Well, never mind. There is one scene where the background of a certain shot looked really CGI. And thing is, they were actually at the place, like, when they were filming this particular scene, they were on location. So I don't know why the background of this particular scene looked so CGI, but it did. That's the only thing that was wrong with me CGI-wise for scenery and stuff. But the thing that hit me most with the CGI, and it wasn't too bad, it wasn't as, like, it wasn't bad for me. But it was with a certain character. I'm not gonna say because I don't want to spoil it, so that you guys will be anticipating looking at it, seeing the CGI on this particular character that I was talking about, trying to notice it, and then you're like, and then you just notice it the whole time. I noticed it the whole time because I already knew about this character that had this CGI done to this character. So when I saw it, I was like, you can actually tell. They didn't do the best job, but you can actually tell. And, I mean, like, I still enjoyed it. I did. But you could tell, they had done CGI to try and cover it. But it was still okay. I enjoyed it nonetheless. But that's why it gets an 8.5. Those are the 3.5 points that was taken off. 0.5 was taken off for CGI. And I said it wasn't, 1 point didn't get taken off, only 0.5 got taken off for CGI because it was only really with one character and then with one background shot. So that's not a lot. Other than that, I enjoyed all the CGI. I thought it was good. So 0.5 taken off for CGI, 0.5 taken off for the reshoots because it was only 3 scenes and it was only like a few different shots, but they were noticeable. And then the last point is for the cut scenes that should have been. You know, I think I gotta take one whole point off because there were so many cut scenes. I feel I just gotta take one whole point away, and for 2 reasons. One, like, I feel entire scenes were cut out. Like, maybe like before this scene happened, you feel like a whole entire scene should have happened between this scene and this scene, but this whole entire scene was grabbed and cut out. That's one reason. Then the other reason is because dialogue was cut out as well, and I don't mean, well, like, okay, I'm just going to use Thor Ragnarok for an example because that was the other big superhero movie that came out this month. So Thor Ragnarok, some things were misleading, like some things that we saw in the trailer, some dialogue was switched around, some shots looked different in the final movie, but it was all there. We saw all the stuff that we saw in the trailers in the movie, but there was like enhancements to it, or certain people weren't there that were in the movie, or like certain things were changed on the characters, but everything that we saw in the trailers was in the final movie. Things that we saw in the trailers, like major things that happened in the trailers, like some major things for Justice League, they weren't in the movie. They were not in the movie. And like, especially in the first Like, if you were to put this movie into 3 acts, the first act of the movie, you could really tell that so much was cut. So much that was setting up the beginning of, like, bringing the league together, especially that we saw in the trailers and stuff, wasn't in the movie. And I'm not trying to bash this movie by any means. You guys all know I enjoyed this movie. I love these movies. But I can't not talk about the flaws. I have to be honest. Like, you guys know I love Marvel and DC equally. But I can't, like, I gotta say the things that other people aren't gonna say. The people who, like, love these films like I do, but they don't want to say any of the negatives about them. Or, not negatives, but any of the flaws. I point out the flaws as well when I see them, and this film had its flaws. So because the 1 point taken away instead of 0.5, now, what does that make it? I think 8 out of 10. Now, instead of, what was it before? I think it was a 9 out of 10 or 8.5 out of 10. Now, my score for Justice League is an 8 out of 10. 0.5 taken away for CGI. 0.5 taken away for the reshoots, and then 0.5 take away for CGI, 0.5 take away for reshoots, 1 whole point taken away for cut scenes, because there weren't just cut scenes, there were cut scenes and cut dialogue, and some of that dialogue I really wanted to hear and see at which part of the movie it was going to be, and it was completely cut. So 8 out of 10. Basically, what I'm saying, and this isn't a want, it's a need. I need Zack Snyder's full, uncut version of the movie. And thinking about it, if I get his full, uncut version of the movie, my score will actually go up, like it did for Batman v Superman when we got the Ultimate Edition. Because, think about it, if we get Zack Snyder's full vision, first, the reshoots won't be there. Because Zack Snyder didn't do the reshoots. So, if we get his full vision, those reshoots won't be there. He didn't do the reshoots. He gave it the go-ahead to do them, but he's not the one who did them. So, there won't be any reshoots. So that would be 0.5 put back into the movie, well, into my score. And then CGI, nothing would change about that regardless of, like, Whedon or Zack or anything, or reshoots or whatever. CGI, that would be there, and the reason why, like, if I tell you, it'll be spoiling, because then I tell you which character it is I'm talking about, and I don't want to spoil it so that you guys won't be looking at this character anticipating the stuff I said about the CGI. So I'm not going to mention that, but that would always be 0.5 takeaway regardless. But then 1 whole point would be put back, because all of the cut scenes would be there. All Zack's cut scenes that Warner Bros. Cut, that would be in the final Snyder-filled vision of the film. So it would get a 9.5 out of 10 if I get a Snyder uncut version of Justice League. It'll get a 9.5 out of 10. But right now, for me, it stands at an 8 out of 10. Look, you're going to love this movie. If you love these characters, you've wanted to see them unite together in live action all of your life, is your comic book dream come true. And there were so many Easter eggs. So many Easter eggs and homage. So many Easter eggs and homage. How do you say that word? Homage. I think it's that. There were so many Easter eggs and homages. And just like fan service as well. Like, my favorite, it was near the end of the film, one of my favorite fan service moments. It was like, I want to say exactly where, but it was at some point near the end of the film. I absolutely loved it. There was so much fan service, so many comic book references. One particular character, or not character exactly, but so at one point in the film, it was maybe for like 3 or 4 seconds, we finally got confirmation that this certain group of people exist in the DCEU. It was very short, but I gasped. I gasped so much when I saw this particular person. It was just so amazing. So many comic book references, so many fan service moments. so many homages. It was just absolutely amazing, and it's every comic book lover's wet dream. Please stay for the post-credit scene. So I'm not going to spoil anything that happens in them. I'm just going to talk about each one. I'm not going to say certain things like this happened in the first one, then certain things like this happened in the second one. I'm not going to use he or she for characters. I'm going to do my best not to say anything that would be spoilery for these post-credit scenes. So in one post-credit scene, it's pretty much fan service. It's huge fan service. People have made art of this happening in the DCEU in live action, and they made it happen. They made it happen in this post-credit scene. It was absolutely amazing. People loved it. People were laughing, smiling, cheering, and it was just absolutely amazing. And it was a dream come true to see on live action. Then in one post-credit scene, it was a huge setup for the future of the DCEU and what could happen in later movies, and even maybe a Justice League 2. So we saw two characters. One we've seen before, and a lot of people did not like this character. I loved this character, and I loved this person's portrayal of this character. So we saw this character again, and now this character looks how everyone wanted this character to look. I liked the person's look before, but now this person looks how everyone wanted this character to look. And this person acts like everyone wanted this character to act. So hopefully people are happy with the character. Then we saw another character, this character's first introduction into the DCEU. We already knew this character existed because of social media and stuff. We already knew this character existed, but now we saw this character for the first time in the DCEU. This character looked absolutely amazing. Everything from the outfit, just everything looked so, like, stupidly amazing. And the character that we've seen before that everyone hated, this character said something that could set up something for the future of the DCEU. And, like, I cheered when this character said this certain thing. Like, this character teased this certain thing happening. So you guys just gotta stay for the post-credit scenes. That is gonna do it for my non-spoiler review for Justice League. See, this is probably like over 20 minutes already. I told you guys there's too much to talk about with this film for me to do the non-spoiler and spoiler in one video. The whole video itself will just be way too long, even though you wouldn't have to watch all of it. I'd rather just do separate videos. So, hope you all enjoyed my non-spoiler review for Justice League, and I assume the only people who are watching this are people who haven't seen the film yet. So, now let me know what you think. And just know, this is just my review, just my opinion. So go see the film. Everything I said is all my opinion, is all what I thought, and you're just here to see what I thought about that. But don't let what I think about it change what you think about it and change whether you see it or not. You just came here to hear my opinion. You've heard my opinion. Don't let that change yours, okay? Hope you all enjoyed. Links to all my social media are down below in the description box. There are 2 like buttons. Be sure to hit the button with the thumb pointing up. Share this video to anyone you feel enjoy. If you're new around here and you like what you see, tap the subscribe button and ding dong the notification bell to join the Mad Squad on our journey to 10,000 subscribers. My name's Joe, aka Mad Joe FC. I hope you all have a marvelous day. Mad out.